Welcome! Because of ongoing interest in these Asian woman scams, what I've done here is assemble all the videos into one place to make it easier for you to watch, whether you're a new viewer or you're a returning viewer. Are you here to find out how I was almost scammed in WhatsApp? Then you're in the right place. I'm going to show and explain to you how a WhatsApp scam works. This wasn't a video that I'd planned to make, but having seen what it's like to have someone try to scam me in WhatsApp, I thought it was important for me to share with others what it looks like. As a real estate advisor and agent, I am constantly bombarded by email and text message spam. In all of that spam, I am quite certain there are scams that are trying to be pulled on me. Because I generally recognize them and see them so much, I generally delete them and disregard them. But in the case of WhatsApp scams, it's very uncommon to me. And the reason why it's uncommon to me is I am not an avid WhatsApp user. I only use WhatsApp for very specific purposes. I use WhatsApp to communicate with people outside of the US. And so I don't receive many messages on WhatsApp from people I don't know. In October of 2021, I've received my first random message from a WhatsApp user that I didn't know. And this is what the message looked like. If you look at the screen, you will see that the message is coming from an 852 country code. Doing a Google search on an 852 country code says that it's coming from Hong Kong. In this message that I received from Hong Kong, it says, "Hi Mike, I'm going to travel to America next month. Please help me arrange it." And then I give a quick answer the following day, "You got the wrong person." The sender of the original message writes, "Sorry, maybe I entered the wrong number. Sorry to bother you." I then reply, "No worries." Now, as you can see, she wrote back in Chinese. Now, I will tell you, I don't read Chinese, so I had to run it through Google Translate. And this is what Google Translate says. "My name is Lu Xinru. Nice to meet you, although in the wrong way." And then she writes, "What's your name?" It's at this point I don't respond anymore. There's no point in me responding further. I did my part to let them know they got the wrong number, and I really have no interest in having any more dialogue with a person that I don't know. And because I didn't know who the person was, I didn't even really bother to look at the photo. However, in preparation for this video, I did pull up the photo from the sender of this message. And the photo from this message allegedly comes from the person in this photo. It's obviously a good-looking photo. But in any case, I was done with that message and saw no point in revisiting it. Then on New Year's Eve of 2021, I get another random WhatsApp message from someone that I don't know. And in this particular case, you will see that this message comes from the country code 55. A Google search on a 55 country code reveals it to be coming from Brazil. I can tell you, I don't know anyone in Brazil. And I'm not expecting any messages from anyone from Brazil. Once again, let's take a look at this message. You will see it says, "Kevin, long time no see. I'm Danny. How have you been?" I respond, "Wrong person." Then I get a dumb answer that says, "Aren't you Lisa? I'm sorry. I think I added the wrong number. I'm very sorry. I hope you don't mind." Then I respond, "Sorry, not Lisa at all." And this foolish would-be scammer writes, "Thank you. Although add the wrong number, but I can see that you are a very kind person. Acquaintance is fate. I am glad to know you." And as you read that message, I'm thinking, this is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen. This message is a joke. It's so poorly written, it's just downright ridiculous. This time around, I was quicker to check out the photo from the alleged sender of this message. And as you can see in this photo, it is yet another attractive photo. In both of these cases, I'm receiving these bizarre, out-of-the-blue messages from different Asian women. Given my own Asian background, do you think that was a coincidence? I think not. It was only after the second WhatsApp message that I decided to do some investigating on WhatsApp scams. If you do a Google search on WhatsApp scams, you will find that there are many articles on the subject matter. The problem that I have with many of these WhatsApp scam articles is that they're pretty vague. They lack a lot of detail. They don't explain how people become a victim. And what I've shown you is how a WhatsApp scammer starts the conversation and works their way into your life. So if I had continued with the online discussion, I am quite certain that they will have asked me to become a WhatsApp contact. They would have been added to my WhatsApp contact list. And it's not a far stretch that once you have a WhatsApp contact in your list, they might eventually become a Facebook friend. And once a WhatsApp contact becomes a Facebook friend, they have access to your personal information, such as your personal posts, your personal photos, and even access to your friends. Taking it a step further, they would probably find some way for me to pull up a financial app to give them some money. In fact, one of the biggest financial scams that are being run today is through the financial app Zelle. And I made a video that explains how dangerous the Zelle app is and how easy it is for people to pull financial scams on Zelle. So I recommend you check out that video. WhatsApp scams are very pervasive and they continue to grow because people keep falling for it. People are too trusting over online chat. Do not be so trusting of anyone that sends you random messages out of the blue. Don't create relationships with them. Don't let them into any of your social media accounts. Don't be so quick to believe that the message that you received is the real deal. Sometimes you need to corroborate that message, even if it's coming from somebody that you think you might know. That is how a lot of these scams work. Scams work when they impersonate people that you know. And the only way you can verify the validity of these communications is using a second communication channel, such as directly calling the person. So if you get a strange message from someone out of the blue from WhatsApp, ignore it. However, if you really feel like it's an innocent mistake and you feel like you need to reply, like I did, just give them a short answer that they got the wrong number. It doesn't matter how beautiful the photo is, there's a good chance it's a fake. Don't let a fake photo fool you into sharing information that you shouldn't. Are you here to find out why Asian women are trying to scam you on WhatsApp? Then you're in the right place. In January, I produced a video describing how I was almost scammed in WhatsApp. In that video, I shared messages that I received from random WhatsApp users looking for someone that wasn't me. I would respond back and tell them that they had the wrong person. After I wrote back that they had the wrong person, they would try to strike up a friendly conversation with me. I did respond a couple of times, but ultimately I stopped because I saw no point in speaking to a total stranger. But I did believe these messages were coming from a legitimate person. I didn't think about it much that these messages were coming from accounts from Asian women. However, after having done some research, after considering the photos that they were overly polished, I discovered that there was a WhatsApp scam and that I was a potential victim. However, fortunately for me, it didn't go very far. And because I still had these WhatsApp messages and the photos, I decided to make a YouTube video about it, warning others of this potential WhatsApp scam. Little did I know that I would get such a big reaction from that particular YouTube video about WhatsApp scams. There were dozens of comments written by users who had watched my videos. They wrote their experiences in the comment section, and I had a chance to more fully understand what was going on. What was striking to me that everyone that responded also said that they received WhatsApp messages from Asian women. That's when I realized that there was something larger going on. Now, it's quite obvious in this video that I'm an Asian guy, so me receiving messages from an Asian woman is not particularly unusual. What is unusual is that the dozens of comments I received were from people from all over the world. Most of them were men of various ages, and even a couple of cases they were women. They all said that they were receiving messages from Asian women. And all of the messages had a similar pattern. They were allegedly trying to contact one person, but then the responder would tell them they got the wrong person. And in every case, when there was a response, they would try to strike up a friendly conversation. And all of these friendly conversations were coming from WhatsApp accounts that look like they're from attractive Asian women. This begs the question, are Asian women really trying to run scams on WhatsApp users worldwide? And my answer is probably not. I don't believe there's a conspiracy of Asian women, nor there is a gang of Asian women trying to scam WhatsApp users worldwide. If you really think about it, if you're trying to scam somebody, who in their right minds are going to use their own photos? What is more likely to happen is that these would-be scammers are hiding behind the photo of attractive Asian women. Several of these photos that I've seen of Asian women look like they could be coming from model shots. And that's probably the most suspicious clue that I personally got out of it. Most people don't use model shots of themselves when they upload their photos on their profile. So to be clear, the vast majority of these WhatsApp messages I don't believe come from Asian women. Now, of course, scammers can come from any type of background. So it is possible that Asian women are running WhatsApp scams. But are they the only ones? Definitely not. One of my commenters suggested that they're probably young guys running scams, and I'm inclined to agree with him. Now that we've settled the issue that WhatsApp scammers are not performed exclusively by Asian women, the next question is, why are photos of Asian women being used? And the easy answer is, scammers are often copycats. The reason why online scams are often so recognizable is that these scammers often copycat each other. And what likely happened a couple years ago is that someone successfully scammed a victim out of their money using the profile of an attractive Asian woman. And once the scam works, word travels very fast in the scamming community. And suddenly, these copycat scammers want to get in on the game, and they too will use a photo of an attractive Asian woman in their WhatsApp profiles. I have to tell you, I despise these online scams, but fortunately, many of these online scammers are not very bright. When they copycat the way they do, they make it easier for the rest of us to keep our guard up. So now many online users now know if they receive a random WhatsApp message that comes from a strange number from an attractive Asian woman in the profile, you gotta be suspicious. You not only need to be suspicious, you should probably block them entirely. It's quite fortunate that we have Google and YouTube at our disposal nowadays. A quick Google or YouTube search will quickly reveal many scams that are being perpetrated upon victims as they occur. So if you know anyone that uses WhatsApp and they are receiving strange messages, make sure you pass the word on. On July 31st, I received an email from a victim who lost $243,000 due to a crypto pig butchering scam. He responded because of a video that I made in January about my run-in with a WhatsApp scam. In his email, he said he wished he knew about the scam earlier. The email I'm about to share with you is both a moving and sad story. I've exchanged a few emails with the victim since early August, and I've tried to have a phone conversation with him, but understandably, he is very reluctant, and so I have to respect that. However, I did tell him that his story is very important for others to know, and I would certainly respect his privacy. What I've done is I've removed all his personal information. Who the victim is and where he lives is unimportant. What is important is his personal story. With financial scams running rampant, it's really important that people are aware of how the crypto pig butchering scam works. It almost always starts with a few WhatsApp messages. Now, before we get into this letter, if you want to leave a comment below, I ask that everyone be respectful. Don't be rude, don't be crass, don't victim blame. The guy has suffered enough. He doesn't need anyone to pile on. Without any more delays, let's get into the email where the victim described how he lost $243,000 to a crypto pig butchering scam. Now that you've read this email, what do you think? There's a lot to process and there are a lot of layers in this email. Feel free to leave a comment below, but remember, be respectful. No matter what I do and where I am online, it seems like Asian women are always trying to scam me one way or another. This time, it's through LinkedIn. Does it say sucker on my forehead? Before I speak to the LinkedIn scam danger, you have to understand the background of where the Asian woman scam comes from. My first exposure to Asian women scams came through WhatsApp over 2 years ago. At the time, I made a video about my experience with the Asian woman WhatsApp scam. I made it because I suspected that there might be other people who were encountering something similar. Little did I know I would hit a chord because that video now has 135,000 views as of the date of this recording. The number of commenters on that video has been numerous, with a few victims privately emailing me and sharing their stories. One victim even lost $246,000 of his inheritance. His story was so tragic, I made a video about his story. You can find the link to that video in the description below. I later learned that the Asian woman's WhatsApp scam is actually part of a larger scheme, the pig butchering scam. The pig butchering scam is when scammers entice unknowing victims into investing into fake or non-existent crypto. The majority of victims of pig butchering scams appear to be men. These naive men are drawn into their scam by their greed glands, their sense of loneliness, or the unexpected attention of a young, attractive Asian woman. It is actually sad to hear these stories. The victims are men of all ages, old and young. These Asian women scammers have snaked their way into other platforms such as Facebook, text messages, and now LinkedIn. I've tried to ignore the LinkedIn solicitations, but I finally got one request too many. So now I want to out these scammers and help put a squashing on these LinkedIn scams. If you are a working professional, independent contractor, manager, or small business owner, there is a good chance you have heard of LinkedIn. You probably even have a LinkedIn account. If you do, listen up. Even if you don't use LinkedIn up, you should also listen up. If you have a LinkedIn account, there's a good chance you may have already gotten LinkedIn connection requests to be part of your network. If you have a LinkedIn request from an Asian woman that you don't know or has a questionable professional background, do not let them into your network. For that matter, it's good practice to read over every LinkedIn profile before letting them into your network. Let me explain to you why. But before I do, my cat Lexi has told me to ask you to swipe that like button to help spread the message of this video. She gets a treat if you swipe that like button. The first thing you should know about LinkedIn is that, similar to Facebook, it is a closed network. If you are not a member of LinkedIn, you will generally not be able to see another member's profile. You will also have limited ability to view other profiles or communicate with other LinkedIn members unless you are directly connected to them. From the scammer's perspective, to get a fuller view of a potential victim on LinkedIn, they want to make a connection request to be part of your LinkedIn network. Once they are a connection in your LinkedIn network, they can see your full profile. They can also see other LinkedIn members and how they are tied to you, and even those members that are indirectly connected to you. This is normally a good thing if you are a LinkedIn user with legitimate networking intentions. However, scammers will abuse this and gather information about you, your work, your employer, your business, and of course, your other connections. LinkedIn will provide these scammers with a roadmap to other potential victims by virtue of their connection with you. One thing I do want to point out is that people who set up LinkedIn accounts generally have a higher professional status than those that don't. And I don't mean anything insulting by that. For example, if a person is a bus driver, housekeeper, or mechanic, they probably won't have a LinkedIn account to network with other members. That's just not how they get their employment. However, if you are a manager, developer, business owner, entrepreneur, lawyer, or any other kind of higher status or educated professional, there is a good chance you will have a LinkedIn account. The whole point of LinkedIn is connecting with others who are career, business, network, and opportunity minded. This is a ripe environment to sleazy scammers, but dangerous to a naive or trusting LinkedIn member. I often see LinkedIn members collect huge numbers of connections indiscriminately, which always makes me cringe. Whereas on my LinkedIn profile, you will see far fewer connections because I tend to restrict my connections to people I know. LinkedIn members, especially professional men with good paying jobs, are ripe pickings from Asian women scammers. There are some basic patterns to look out for of a suspicious Asian woman LinkedIn account. These are based on a dozen LinkedIn requests I've received from various Asian women. The scammers almost always use attractive photos. The women look like they are in their 20s or early 30s. All these women seem to list 1 or 2 jobs with some high-profile company. Another thing I see is that the women list a high-profile college or university as part of their educational background. Their LinkedIn profiles tend to be very simplistic and lack any depth of history if you really pay attention. Their initial messages are along the lines of wanting to work with you or having you be a mentor to them. What happens if you let the scammers into your LinkedIn network that they will then try to get your phone number so that they can text you, or they will try to steer you towards WhatsApp so they can text you there. I rarely hear of any Asian woman scammer asking to email directly. Everything I have heard so far is all about getting your phone number. Once they get your phone number, they will want to text you through SMS or WhatsApp. You can expect that they will try to run you through the pig butchering scam. It really is a wash and rinse system for a lot of these scammers. And while they are working on you, they are expanding their list of potential victims through their LinkedIn connection with you. If you have a LinkedIn account with numerous connections, I suggest you go through your list of connections and look out for these LinkedIn profiles from Asian women with suspicious background information and get rid of that connection. Even if you are not at risk of being fooled yourself, your other connections might not be so savvy. If you remove suspicious LinkedIn connections from your LinkedIn profile, you can help restrict them from trolling around LinkedIn further. Please be safe. Always keep your guard up. If a stranger reaches out to you for no good reason, your guard should automatically be up and you should be suspicious. Are you being contacted by Asian women you don't know? Are you texting or messaging with Asian women you don't know? If you are, then you just might be getting what you deserve. Guys, have I gotten your attention? Good. I want you to listen up. When I first posted my video warning others about my near scam experience on WhatsApp in 2021, I had no idea at the time how big WhatsApp scams were. I didn't know that there was a pig butchering scam where people are fooled into putting money into fake crypto investments. I personally find it bizarre in an ocean of investment vehicles, people are so enamored with cryptocurrency and willing to put in their hard-earned money into a highly speculative, unregulated instrument. But that is a whole separate discussion I won't get into right now. All I knew in 2021 at that time was that I thought it was suspicious that 2 different Asian women contacted me through my WhatsApp account, supposedly looking for another person. And when I was nice enough to respond and correct them, suddenly they wanted to become my online friend. It was very strange. What I didn't know at the time was that these random contacts were actually quite intentional. These supposedly accidental messages were designed as opening lines to engage me in online conversation. Fortunately for me, I am not single, nor am I lonely. I had little interest in chatting with anybody I didn't know. As a self-employed person in a happy relationship, my time, attention, and energy are very precious resources. I am not going to give my time and attention to people I don't know without screening them first. I've grown tired the last couple of years with the onslaught of both spammers and scammers making unsolicited calls, text messages, direct messages, emails, spam, surveys, and people just generally trying to get my time and attention over all kinds of illegitimate things or someone trying to sell me something. I am tired of it all. One thing my cat Jaggy gets tired of is reminding me to ask you to swipe that like button to help the YouTube algorithm spread the message of this video to help stop the scamming. He also gets tired of begging for treats. However, if you hit that subscribe button, he will be very happy and get a special treat. The video comment section of my videos are constantly hit with endless spammers that go something like this. You have done a great job in helping and stopping scammers. You are a wonderful person and human being. I am grateful to XYZ on Instagram or Telegram who has been fabulous and helped me recover my money back. How gullible do you think people are? Having read a few hundred comments over the last couple of years on videos I made about WhatsApp and Asian women scams, there is apparently a fair amount of people who are trusting enough to fall for these scams. It's very distressing. Some people watch my videos and they leave comments of their experiences. I do my best to respond to every comment when I can. The one thing I can tell you is that the overwhelming majority of victims seems to be guys. And so this video is intended for you guys listening. If you happen to be a woman watching this video, that's perfectly okay. Welcome aboard. You can pass the message to your male friends and family members to help them not get scammed. It's not a surprise that there are a lot of younger guys who get all tangled up with these Asian women scammers. You, in fact, may be one of these younger guys watching this video. But I am sad to report a fair amount of middle-aged men also get scammed too. You might be one of those middle-aged men watching this video. The biggest difference between the younger guys and the middle-aged men is that the amounts being scammed are usually larger with the older men because they have more money. Oftentimes, middle-aged men are not quite as tech-savvy and they get scammed that way. I am happy to report that there are also a fair amount of guys who are insightful enough to sniff out a scam that is being run on them. They realize this and get away, and I commend them for being insightful. I am happy to report that a fair amount of commenters let me know that they figured out someone was trying to scam them, and then they disengaged and blocked them. But unfortunately, a fair amount of commenters do report to me that they do in fact get scammed. They are understandably angry and upset. I am actually quite sad for them when I read those comments. They ask if I can help them and get their money back or have any advice for them. Unfortunately, I always have to tell them I can't help them and I have no advice except to learn from this unfortunate life lesson. I am in no position of authority or influence to do anything to help them recover their lost money. That's not what I do. Every time I make a video about the Asian woman scam, I always think it will be my last video and there is nothing more for me to say about it, but then something new comes up. Because here I am making yet another video about the Asian woman scam. However, this time around, I don't have anything to report per se, but I do have an important message from one guy to another. I am making this video for you guys, especially for those of you who might become vulnerable to getting scammed or being taken advantage of. I want to bring attention to some root causes of why some of you might be targeted. I say this not to be insulting, but perhaps to get you to think about why you are doing what you are doing and why you are getting caught up with these anonymous Asian women. As a middle-aged guy, I still remember what it was like to be a teenager. I also remember going through my 20s, 30s, and 40s. I was single for most of those years. Although I was okay being single, I like being in a relationship much more. I've also watched a lot of guys, especially single guys, make a lot of dumb and costly mistakes over the years when it comes to dealing with women. I've made a few dumb mistakes myself. So I feel reasonably qualified to address some issues a lot of you guys may not be thinking about, which make you more vulnerable to being scammed. The root causes of why some of you guys are so vulnerable to the Asian women scam are a few things. I want you to sit in a quiet place and think carefully about what I'm going to tell you. Be honest with yourself. Look inside to see if you might be vulnerable or prone to being scammed. Before I get into this, I'm not a psychologist, psychiatrist, or any kind of mental health professional. If what I'm about to tell you and say to you triggers you, then don't watch this video. If you are upset or triggered by what I say, definitely seek out a mental health professional. First, there is a good chance you might be lonely. Outwardly, you may be smiling and happy and normal to everyone, but deep down inside, you might really be lonely. You are single and you seek companionship. You want a girlfriend, wife, or a life partner. Or if you are married or already in a relationship, but you don't have that emotional connection you want at home, so you have that emptiness within you. That is why so many people dabble with online dating or social media, whether they are single or not. But I want to warn you, if you don't already know, these Asian women scammers know that there are many lonely guys out there, and they are trolling online dating sites as well as social media sites. They aren't going to care whether you are single or married because you wouldn't be on an online dating website if you were happy with what you have at home. If you are online and willing to talk to anonymous women online, they know there is some part of you that is lonely or unfulfilled with what you have. Second, you might be lustful and sexually charged up. You absolutely cannot let your gonads overrule your brain. Guys, if you feel your gonads are overruling your brain, you need to take a step back. Take a break, cool down, go do something, and get your brain back. Scammers have figured out that guys all over the world have a fascination with young Asian women. That is why so many profile photos are of young Asian women that are used even if the scammer behind the profile might actually be a crooked, scammy guy. Third, you might be an insecure guy. There are lots of insecure guys running around doing many crazy things. You might be prone to suggestion and following instructions. Your desire for acceptance and belonging might be so strong you are willing to connect with a blind stranger you know nothing about. You might let the fantasy of an attractive Asian woman photo get a grip on you. Fourth, you might also be a people pleaser. You are so hungry for attention that you might do almost anything to please this photo that you have of an attractive Asian woman. You want her to like you. You might do almost anything to keep the connection alive. Beware of this. You should not let anyone, whomever you have never met and don't know, have undue influence and control over you. Stop being so nice and polite. Certainly, don't be a but ask direct questions if you are suspicious. Stand your ground and have some backbone. Have the internal fortitude to say no. Block the person and shut it down once you find out someone is trying to scam you. One commenter told me about how he suspected a woman he spoke with was a victim of human trafficking. He might be right. He believed that she was being made to do the scamming. To me, he seemed like a candidate for a future scam. This is my position. I'm trying to warn people off of getting scammed no matter where or who it comes from or why. But if you insist on participating or being sympathetic to these would-be scammers, then you are simply feeding into the scam. It needs to stop. You might be inviting future opportunities for some other scammer to work on you. There might be some part of you that is emotionally starved for human attention and connection that you are willing to engage someone online you know is trying to scam you. You are by far not alone, but seriously, my suggestion is to disengage. Stop fooling around with this nonsense. Direct your energy towards something else. If you can't be secure enough in yourself to say no, then someone else in the future might eventually get to you. Fifth, you might be letting your greed glands overrule your brain. You may not be lonely, insecure, or lustful, but you might love the idea of making fast, easy money. That type of thinking is going to get you in trouble, and it will make you vulnerable to getting scammed. It is much easier to say this now in mid-2023. Stop falling for the fantasy of cryptocurrency or any other scheme that says you will make quick money with no work or no smarts. If you fall for the fantasy of cryptocurrency or any other get-rich-quick scheme, there is a good chance your greed glands are going to get you into trouble. Trust me on this. Look, everyone wants to make more money, but the secret to financial success is not some random attractive Asian woman that comes out of nowhere and sweet talks you through Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, text messages, or anything like that. This is not how normal women or people in general of good intentions operate. It's not legitimate. Sixth, you might have the white knight syndrome. I unfortunately have experienced this one in my own life, and it can be financially costly. You want to come to the rescue of some woman who gives you a tragic hard luck story. It doesn't matter whether the story is true or not. The end result is the same. You want to help and rescue some poor girl or woman out of their plight so you can feel like a hero. I have been guilty of this myself, and I caution you about falling into the trap of the white knight syndrome. You end up losing your time, your money, and energy over it. If some random woman you have never met before starts feeding you any kind of tragic, hard luck story, she will likely follow up and ask you for some help. That help will likely be gifts, donations, contributions, or a short-term loan. What she will promise in return is that when you get paid back, it will be some crazy-ass return that normal people would never pay to borrow money. This scheme will tap into your greed glands as well as your sympathy glands. Or she might promise to meet you, thank you personally, show you her appreciation, and tantalize you with the fantasy that you will one day connect with her in person. Although I am addressing the issue of Asian women scams, I see similarities to what Nigerian scammers do and how they think when dealing with their targets and victims. Some of these ideas have seeped into the Asian woman scam culture. I want you to keep these in mind. First, Nigerian scammers believe that if you are dumb enough to believe them and their story, you deserve to get scammed. You are asking for it. They believe if you are actually smart and a good steward of your own money, you would know how to protect your own money. By them successfully convincing you to send them money, they have proven that you are not a good steward for your money. You deserve to lose the money. They believe the money ends up where it is supposed to, in their possession, not yours. Second, Nigerian scammers believe that Americans are wealthy, certainly by their standards. They believe that Americans can afford to get scammed. The rationale is that normal people aren't going to give up money they truly need for housing, groceries, and other essentials of life. If you are tricked into sending money to them, they believe you really didn't need that money to begin with. Again, they believe they are more deserving of your money than you are. YouTube Mark Rober has reported that Indian scammers treat their operations as a sales operation. When Indian scammers reach out to you, talk to you, and try to convince you to send money, they look at it as a sales operation making sales calls. For them, it is entirely a business operation. They are the salespeople who will say whatever they need to convince you to send them your money. Obviously, normal people find all of these justifications to scam others both twisted and repugnant. I know I do. But that is what you are up against. These kinds of people have very different and twisted moral compasses. They don't match up with most normal people's sensibilities. That is why I say stop being naive, because your own naivete will be weaponized against you.